Hey everybody, come on in. It's Conspiracy Theories and Chill. We're going to start in just a minute. I give you just a little time to get in, like and share, because I need time to do that. And we depend on that. So please share, please like, invite your friends, bring them in here. Anybody who likes conspiracies, likes talking about the stuff that's going on behind the curtain, the hidden realities that are happening out there in the world. Bring them in. Bring them in. That's what this show is for. This is Conspiracy Theories and Chill. And we gather here every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Central. And we talk about conspiracy theories. We rock our tinfoil hats and we're proud of it. But thanks for coming in, guys. Let me see what we got going on. We got some people here on YouTube. Facebook looks like it's up. Let me bring that up so I can see that. Looks like we're going on Facebook. Hey Helen. Top Fan's here? Oh, you beat Top Fan. Hold on, let me... How is the sound? How is the sound, Helen? Help me figure that out really quick. I can only do this by trying it out. Now that should just be background music. That should not be overwhelming. That's the idea anyway. I'm experimenting with intro music. So, but we got the new computer. We're tweaking some things. We're figuring some things out. But this is Conspiracy Theories and Chill. So come on in, like and share. I'm going to invite some people and get some people maybe in here. You do the same and share this out and hit like. Even if you're here later on, if you're watching this video later on, hit that like button. I'm going to invite Top Fan. There, I just invited Top Fan. And I'm going to invite some people. Get a cool group in here maybe. We're going to play a video that I made on the Montauk project. The Montauk project is a CIA project that was part of MK Ultra. And the reason I'm going to play this is to show how evil the CIA is. Because we have a little CIA shill, a little rat, scurrying into politics and being rushed to the front of the mainstream establishment, Pete Buttigieg. So I thought we needed to revisit the CIA and what the CIA is all about and look a little bit into that. So as the conversation starter video tonight, we're going to watch my Montauk Project video. And hey, Paul, Top Fan's here. Good to see you, Paul. We're going to look at my Montauk Project video and try not to point out the reasons I need to remake the Montauk video. You're in the middle of Stranger Things Season 2. Stranger Things is based on Montauk. That show is based on the Montauk Project. That show was almost called Montauk. It actually almost was. When it was shopped around, that show was called Montauk. But we're going to start the video here in a second, and we're going to watch that, and that gets the conversation going. But we can talk about absolutely anything. This is Conspiracy Theories and Chill, after all. So any conspiracy you want, bring it up. The more active the comment section is, the better the show will be, because I feed off the comment section. So let me bring this in. I'm going to bring in the display capture so we can show the screen, and I'm going to play the video for you guys. But this video, I made this video in 2017, so I'm a little nasally in it, and it's got some things that I would like to make a new one. But my son is doing some research into this stuff I talk about. And he's fascinated with the Montauk Project and the things that the CIA did to people in these projects. So he was saying I should show this video again. And I thought with the connection with CIA show Pete Buttigieg, it was even more important to revisit what the CIA is actually about. But here's the video, and afterwards we'll hang out and talk about anything you guys want to.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Conspiracy Theories and Chill. This week's episode is going to be a continuation of last week's episode, where we began to talk about Project MKUltra. Like many people, I was already aware of the MKUltra project, or I thought I was. I went into the research part of that video with a certain expectation of what I would find. But what I did find while researching that video ended up being a lot more than I was able to cover in just one episode. And one of the main rabbit holes that I left out of last week's episode was the Montauk project. The Montauk project was an offshoot of MKUltra. The Montauk project took place at the Montauk Air Force Base in Montauk, Long Island. Much of the base is housed underground, with only a few structures above ground, one of which is this radar tower that you see here. Today, the area of the Montauk Air Force Base is a national park called Camp Hero. The only thing is, no one's allowed inside. The government claims to have closed down the Montauk Air Force Base after the Monarch project was ceased, at which time they donated the land above ground to the state to be used for a state park, with the understanding that all of the underground facilities would be off limits. However, once the land was donated to be a state park, it was immediately fenced off because they claimed that the ground was contaminated, so no one is even allowed onto the grounds of Camp Hero. And while what's happened with the land of Camp Hero is strange in itself, radio waves still emanating from within the structures lead some to believe that the underground parts of the base are still in use today. Of course, this is denied by the government. While they admit that the MKUltra projects took place, they claim that they ceased in the late 70s. But when you take into account the horrific nature of the MKUltra project and the fact that it went on for so long, it's much harder to believe the government's version of the accounts of what happened than it is to believe some of the witnesses and victims' testimonies of what actually occurred in facilities like Montauk Air Force Base. And what is alleged to have taken place at the Montauk facility is even more horrific than what we have already discussed with MKUltra. So it's not hard to understand why so much of what went on in these experiments conducted at Montauk Air Force Base is still top secret to this day. The Montauk project handled the more exotic and supernatural parts of the MKUltra project, using research from the Philadelphia experiment, where the military, using Nikola Tesla's research, tried to make a battleship invisible. It's reported that they were successful and the ship did become invisible, but it's also claimed that the ship completely vanished. It's important to note that Tesla's research that the military was using involved creating portals in space-time, and many people believe that that is exactly what happened to the USS Eldridge during the Philadelphia experiment, and that Tesla's technology actually did open a rip in space-time, sending the USS Eldridge through it. The experiments done at the Montauk facility used some of Tesla's same technology and research, but this time the goals were to create mind-controlled psychic soldiers to be used as weapons, as well as experimenting with sending people through time and space. Another focus of study at Montauk was controlling human minds through the use of pulse radio technology and inserting electronic devices into the brain that would release signals to control behavior. Elements of Satanism and the occult played a large part in the experiments as well. As a matter of fact, one of the heads of the facility, General Michael Aquino, was a high priest of the Satanic Church and founder of his own Satanic Church, the Temple of Set. It's even claimed that alien technology and even actual aliens themselves played a part in the experiments. Due to the extreme and experimental nature of the Montauk experiments, the scientists felt that children would be the most resilient and easiest subjects to use. Many children were experimented on in these underground facilities. These children came from many sources. Some were military children whose parents had been promised advancement and money to allow their children to participate. Scientists promised these parents that their children would be improved and made geniuses or super soldiers. But most of the children used in these experiments were obtained through more sinister means, such as underground child trafficking, gathering up orphaned and homeless children, and even sometimes outright kidnapping chosen subjects right off the street. Much of what is referred to in pop culture when it comes to MKUltra is actually referencing the Montauk Project, such as Stephen King's Firestarter, the character River from the Firefly TV show and movie Serenity, and most recently in the new hit Netflix original series Stranger Things. Actually, Stranger Things may be the most influenced by Montauk. Its original title actually was Montauk, and it was originally set in Montauk, Long Island. Before production began on the show, though, the name was changed and so was the location. But the influence of the horrific experiments done at Montauk remained center stage. Stranger Things was a really great show that if you haven't seen it, I recommend you do. I will try not to spoil it. The show centers around the search for a young boy who encounters a mysterious creature and then disappears, and also a strange young girl named Eleven that the boys find while they're searching for their friend who has escaped from a Montauk-like facility. The show does a really great job of exploring areas such as psychic abilities through the character Eleven, as well as focusing on the other strange and supernatural elements of Montauk. As I said earlier in this video, these researchers were playing around with Nikola Tesla's research. Research and theories having to do with ripping open space and time with the purpose of sending mind-controlled children through these portals on different missions or to accomplish a certain task. No official records exist, of course, as to whether they ever successfully accomplished bringing Tesla's theories to life. But when you consider the scope and seriousness of the Montauk research and factor in the CIA's track record with telling the truth, you're left with a whole lot more questions than you are answers. And that's the way the government and the CIA would actually prefer it. But you can find multiple examples of people who claim to have been victims of the Montauk experiments, giving their own accounts of what went on in that underground facility online. I found more than one person on YouTube claiming to have been sent through time, and while their stories of course can't be verified, they do share a lot of interesting similarities between them. Many victims also give accounts of seeing alien greys and reptilians in underground facilities doing experiments on humans. It's theorized that these aliens have made an agreement with our government, allowing them to conduct experiments on humans. Many believe that these experiments include crossbreeding humans with alien DNA. Many of the victims of the experiments at the Montauk facility died, and only a few survived. Since the government and the CIA want to remain so vague and mysterious about MKUltra and especially Montauk, all we can go on to find the truth is the little the CIA actually admits to, and combine that with the accounts of the survivors and whistleblowers. In any case, it's clear that the CIA was messing with forces that they probably didn't even fully understand, much less have any business performing. They did these experiments on real people, did unspeakable things to innocent men, women, and children, all funded by your tax dollars right here in the good old US of A. And worse still, these mad scientists completely got away with what they did. Bill Clinton issued an apology on behalf of the United States to the victims of the experiments, but no charges were filed, no grand jury commenced, and no real justice was delivered. And that makes the MKUltra project a great place to point when someone claims, oh, our government wouldn't do that. The fact that they did this proves that they are capable of absolutely anything. And that brings us to the end of another episode of Conspiracy Theories and Chill. Welcome back, everybody.
No, it doesn't. We just started. Lion. Let me bring me back into the screen here. My beautiful visage. I know you have missed me. There I is. But my son wanted to watch that video, and I hadn't seen it in a while. The Montauk Project is a fascinating project to look into if you're wanting to look at what is the government capable of. Like, what will they really do in the interest of science and discovery? Turns out some pretty horrific things. And he is at an age where he's starting to realize the truth. I don't know if I've been a bad influence in that or not. I would have to say a good influence. I tell him not to repeat what I tell him at school. He'll fail. This is not the approved government narrative. This is the truth. That's what we deal in and what we talk about. But welcome back to Conspiracy Theories and Chill. And tonight we're focusing on the CIA mostly, and Montauk, and that kind of stuff. Let me see what we got going on in the comments. Please comment. Let me know that you're here. Participate in the show. I want to hear from you. We've got a good group here on Facebook. Um, I think a lot of it is in a watch group, a watch party rather. Watch parties are fantastic. And let me see what the comments are in the watch party here. Da, da, da. No such thing as aliens, all man made creatures to make us believe there are aliens. Man is sick. These evildoers have a deity in him, the devils. Now, I happen to agree with you about aliens. I don't think that there is any such thing as aliens, for instance. Um, I believe that they are demonic entities that people were describing when they describe aliens. That's what I believe. Interdimensional beings is what I believe that aliens are. I don't believe aliens are from another planet or from outer space. Jeannie says Roswell's all fake. I believe in made to look alien. Never thought of Art Bell, but I have a feeling he lasted as long as he did on there because he programmed us. A lot of people that make it in the media make it because they sell the narrative. They sell the official narrative. They do what is wanted and expected of them. They don't talk about anything that they're not supposed to, anything that they're not pre-approved to discuss. That's all off limits. The media is garbage. The media is propaganda and lies sold on a mass level. Alex says the Philadelphia experiment. The Philadelphia experiment is fascinating, and that would be interesting to go into too. And that's what he's really wanting to know a lot about is all these experiments, the things that they did, like with MK Ultra. And it's kind of hard to tell somebody that's still in a school age how bad the government, the powers that be, the people that are supposed to be the good guys, how bad they actually are. They're literal mad scientists that have done horrible things to real people. And it's disgusting. And hey, Lissa from Virginia, good to see you. Good to see some people joining the watch party. But Todd says interdimensional beings, all UFO sightings are government made anti gravity crafts. I believe you're dead on with that, Todd. I think you're very accurate. We're on the same page. I feel like a lot of these UFO crafts that people see are the government testing out and using technology that would appear like magic to us. We wouldn't even understand it if we saw it. You know, I believe they're decades ahead of us, and that if we were to see what they actually have, it would look like what our cell phones would look like to someone 50 years ago. It would look like literal magic. We wouldn't even be able to explain how it works to them. And I think that's what UFOs are. But I have not seen the fourth kind. What is the fourth kind? Janine says, Lisa, it mostly started with the Germans, as many came to the USA after Hitler. The Operation Paperclip. Operation Paperclip was how the CIA basically started. Operation Paperclip, we brought over all of these scientists and researchers that were working for the Nazis doing this exact same research for the Nazis. We brought them all over to the United States and hooked them up with cushy jobs as head of the CIA and head of NASA. And they started all kinds of organizations with these researchers and scientists from the Nazi organization. And that's where this stuff came from. You're right. Steve says Aleister Crowley was Barbara Bush's father. That's off topic, but true. Look that up. That's interesting. Look at pictures of Aleister Crowley next to Barbara Bush. She looked just like her daddy. I think that went out. It's probably for the best. But let's see. What is some other. Tell me what you think. So he wants to look into all of these projects. He wants to look into all of the stuff that the government's done underground and that's been exposed. This is just the tip of the iceberg, by the way. What we know of is just the tip of the iceberg. It goes so much deeper than what we actually know went on. There's so much going on behind the curtain. So much, even if you try and inform yourself and dig and research and learn about things, you still can't learn everything. But Helen says put Nazis in the medical field too. All over the place. They put them in all kinds of high profile, prestigious jobs and with heavy influence all throughout the country. And hold on, I let myself get distracted by the comments. The fourth kind is apparently um, it's a movie based on alien about alien abductions based on a true story out of Nome, Alaska. And the fourth kind never happened, Donald says. So that would be interesting. We can look into the fourth kind. That'd be a future topic. We can cover anything on this show. And I do like to look. We talk about a lot of truth on the show. I like to focus around true conspiracy. A lot of conspiracies turn out to be true. You know, that's a bullshit term, conspiracy theory. The there is conspiracies and there are theories. You put them together, they're still a real thing. It's just a weaponized term to make you ashamed to think for yourself. But um, I will look into that. I definitely will. Are the Dumb's underground tunnels being destroyed by this administration? I heard they were. I don't. You think they're destroying the underground tunnels of the elite? I don't know. I don't think so. I haven't heard that they are. I would definitely look into that though. And the vaccines. What about vaccines? Are they putting controllers? Someone else adds that they're putting chips in the universal flu vaccines. Well, they give them away like candy. I don't want the vaccination. I don't feel the need for them. And I definitely don't agree with forced vaccinations. But I have heard people talk about how they are injecting things into people. I know that just what I know is in vaccines is disturbing. I recently interviewed Ali French from MMA. I don't remember the organization's name, but they're fighting against mandatory vaccinations. And she told me a lot of fascinating, disturbing, very disturbing things about vaccines. And I was already a little disturbed by the vaccine industry before even looking into and talking with Ali because they're unregulated and have been since the mid 80s. You know, it's Helen says Fourth Kind's a good movie. Right on. Manchurian Candidates. That's what I think Pete Buttigieg is. We want to get real for a second. I think Pete Buttigieg is a Manchurian candidate. And I think he is a wolf in sheep's clothing to the third degree. They are trying to stop a movement that's going on. Whether you agree with it or not, the Democratic establishment is imploding itself to stop a movement. Literally. They are laying out a red carpet for Donald Trump to get a second term. They do not have any interest in beating Donald Trump at this point. They are only interested in beating Bernie Sanders. They want to insert Pete Buttigieg. He is a CIA shill. The deeper I look into him, the more convinced I am. And I got sent a package of stuff today by Nick, and I can't wait to comb through it because I want to dig deeper and deeper and go as deep as I can into Pete Buttigieg. This guy is a shark. He is dangerous. He's got a background in the military industrial complex in lobbying and is part of an organization that still lobbies and still a member of that organization. He has connections to the CIA, worked for a um, front company for the CIA for years, doing God knows what. He had to release his client list from McKinsey and Company, but rest assured that it wouldn't be an accurate list of who he actually represented during his time there, and not an accurate representation of what he did during his time there. He could have done literally anything there. They are an evil corporation. Look into McKinsey and Company. That's a good place to dig on Pete Buttigieg. But I think he's an enemy of everyone because this is not a political show. I don't get political on here. So I'm not going to focus on my political views. But this is the United States, correct? I mean, there's an election being rigged. It's the second time this has happened in the last 4 years. It can't be allowed to happen again. I don't think, right? I mean, unless we're just going to throw politics completely out the window. Because just because they're not rigging your election right now, they're rigging an election. They're messing with democracy. They're undermining democracy. That should matter. And they're doing it with the cooperation of the mainstream media. That should be frightening. You know, just because somebody's not attacking you right now doesn't mean that that same weapon can't be used against you. You know, you don't speak out when they're coming for this group of people or that group of people. Then when it's your turn, there's no one left to speak out for you. So I think it just needs to matter. That's all. Um, I'm not about discussing political ideologies on this show, especially. I don't believe in politics anyway. You know, I only believe in the people rising up, the people doing what needs to happen, the people taking ownership. That's what I believe in anyway. Because what's against us? We're in the age of deceit. I believe that we are living in the literal age of deceit, and everything is a lie. We're living in a matrix of lies. And to find the truth, you have to dig for it. Because every damn channel on TV, every newspaper, every magazine is all weaponized propaganda. So you have to dig and find your own independent media, your own independent truth, your own independent sources for things. And look into like with Pete Buttigieg, for instance. You have to look into him all on your own. The mainstream media is not going to do it. You're not going to see an expose on CBS on Pete Buttigieg because Pete Buttigieg is the establishment darling. He's who they want. He's who they want right now. So you're not going to see them attack Pete Buttigieg. We're going to have to dig. And I don't mean attack him. Point out who he is. I'm telling you, there's plenty there. And I can't wait to comb through the stuff that Nick sent me. That's part of what Nick sent me, Helen. Helen says he lied about military experience and that he's Mossad. I haven't dug deep enough yet. I've been playing with the new computer. For those of you that don't know, we just got a new setup. This is a brand new computer we're streaming through. I know it looks the same because I haven't figured out how to make it fancy yet, but we'll get better as time goes on. But I've been learning how to operate that and dealing with some car troubles. So, but I've been sent some information on Pete being Mossad. That's interesting. That's very interesting. He's very, very pro-Israel. Very pro-Israel. And it makes sense with his intelligence connections and his intelligence community support and the billionaires behind him. It would make it all make sense. Because really, if you look at the truth of it, he's a shitty mayor from the fourth largest town in Indiana that I don't think he could win his own state. So where is all this excitement supposedly coming from for Pete Buttigieg? I don't believe it. I believe that they're trying to pull some shit. They're doing what they do. They're doing what they did in 2016, and they're trying to do it all over again. That's what I believe. But what do you guys want to get into? This is Conspiracy Theories and Chill. We can talk about anything. We watched a video on Montauk. We got into that. I asked you guys what you thought. Some other good government conspiracies to what would you expose a 17-year-old to? You know, um, I hold back. I don't know if I should or not when I talk to him because he likes to hear about this kind of stuff. He likes to look behind the curtain, and I hold back because I'm like, man, you go repeating the stuff I'm telling you in school, they're gonna kick you out. We're gonna have to homeschool you. This is not establishment approved. The stuff that we talk about on this show. He was telling me he was going to share it. I'm like, that's fascinating to me that you would share to your friends a show that your, you know, old dad is doing in the other room about conspiracies. But the truth has a way of drawing people in. You're just drawn to it, and you can identify it when you see it. It speaks to you in a way that the lies and propaganda don't. And they're very polished and very streamlined, and they've put a lot of effort and time into perfecting it. But the truth always shines through. And I think that's what attracts him to it. I don't think it's that I'm super interesting. And I hope I'm at least a little bit interesting, but I don't think it's that I'm super fascinating. I think it's that the truth just speaks for itself. And it always will. And if we keep pushing forward and spreading the truth and doing all we can, then we will make this world better. You know, whichever direction that goes, as long as it's the people taking ownership and doing it, it's going to happen. It can work. We can rise up, and we need to, because they do plan to exterminate us. I don't know what route they'll take, whether it'll be vaccines or, World War III or a mega virus or what route they'll take, but I believe that they plan to wipe us out. I really do. I think they plan to wipe us out en masse. And if we don't do something, I think we're in for a lot of rude awakenings. And that the rug is going to be pulled out from under us Americans. And we've been a little spoiled. We haven't been exposed to how bad things can get, how bad things can be. But I think we're going to be. I think we're close to it. And if we don't make some changes and rise up and show that we're awake and wake more people, I think we could be in for some bad, bad things. Yeah, Helen, it's hard truthing kids, but they want to hear the truth. They don't want to be bullshitted, and they know when they're being bullshitted. And, but then that if you tell them that, it's like okay, he asked me about 9/11. So I'm like, well, are you learning about 9/11 in school? I have to ask that first because I got to know, am I telling you the test answer or am I telling you what really went on? Like, I don't know. Am I trying to make you fail? Like, any topic he asks you about, you have to ask first, wait, is this for a grade? Because if you're being graded on these answers, I'm going to have to give you the official narrative version of what happened here. But if you really want to know the truth, then we can get into that. But you kind of hold back sometimes because you feel like, well, I don't want you flunking because I told you a bunch of stuff. Helen, how come nobody else is commenting? Everybody's. Steve must be still at another feed. But we got 18 people here. This is interactive. This is live. I won't yell at you if you talk, if you comment and tell me what you want to talk about. Let me check the watch party and see what they've been talking about. Sherry says, don't hold back. Even though kids are getting brainwashed, keep trying to spread the truth. I think you're right. And, you know, I'm sure there'll be more questions. It's usually after one of these, after a Wednesday night conspiracy theories and chill show, that I'll get more questions about, well, what was this? And what was that? Because, like, he actually watches it, which fascinates me. But, like I said, I think the truth speaks for itself. And I think people realize the truth when they hear it. And these kids, they know that they're being lied to. Bernadette says, better to know the truth than be an idiot to lies. That's absolutely true. And we need to be in the truth and stay in the truth to, to move forward, to do things, to be able to rise above what's going on. Because everything is a lie, and this is the age of deceit. And we are surrounded by lies from every angle, and the media is a lie. You can't trust the news. But people are realizing that and waking up. And the more people that do, the better off we are. So, sharing the truth with your kids, it can be weird, especially when they're in school. But I agree with you guys. Well, I obviously do because I've been doing it. But I always got to tell them, don't repeat this in school. You get kicked out of class. You go around talking about 9/11 being an inside job at school, they're going to get mad at you. You're going to become that kid. Like he wanted to do a book report, and I kind of egged it on. I feel bad now. But on William Cooper's book, Behold a Pale Horse, I let him do it. We turned it in. I wonder what grade he'll get. They may end up making him one of them gifted kids they put in a special class so they can keep an eye on him. Donna says, I watched the MK Ultra movie. I've just I've read the process itself was destroyed. Is the process still ongoing? I believe it's based on how evil things are today. Thanks. I believe that MK Ultra continues to this day. Now, officially, they say it doesn't. On record, but there's no reason to believe them. You see what I mean? It's the CIA saying, "Oh yeah, MK Ultra was seized." There's no reason to believe that that's true. I believe there's evidence that it still continues to this day. And I believe that Montauk still is operational. There's evidence that Montauk's still operational. You know, for one, which I covered in the video, there's no one allowed on the grounds of Montauk. That's going on still today. There's people that go there from their YouTube channels, and it's still off limits. You can't go into Camp Hero, but there's still radio frequencies emanating from the area and evidence of traffic here and there in the inside areas, people being seen, going into the underground facilities, cars coming in and out. So there's evidence of operation at Montauk as well. And hey, Crystal, but it's there's no way to prove it. There's still people that do research it and talk about how it still goes on, and that's interesting. We can look into that, but at a certain point, it's unfortunate, but there's evidence that it still carries on, and I believe it does. Hey, Janet. Janet's here from Ohio. Donna said I didn't see the video. Is it on YouTube? Oh, the video that we watched earlier in the show? Yes, it's on the YouTube channel, Me on Things and Stuff. Uh, I'll add a link I'll add a link after the feed. But on my YouTube channel, Me on Things and Stuff, it was my Montauk video. There's other ones you can look up though. I'd prefer you watch mine, but it's the Montauk Project. You could probably find there's a lot of good information on Montauk out there. That's what's fascinating. This stuff is out there. You know, I don't use any fancy means to find any of this stuff. I don't have secret dark web connections that I use to or backdoor things. I look into this stuff on my own. We have a computer in our pocket. We're all basically cyborgs, and we can do that. So I don't know why more people don't. You know, it's the age of information, and to stay ignorant in the age of information is a choice. Helen said, last election, my fourth grader was arguing with her teachers for third parties. That's awesome. I gotta like that comment right now. Donna said, thank you. Oh, you're welcome. Hey, Teresa. There's a lot of people here in the watch party. I'm glad you guys like it. I love your group, the QAnon group. I shared this as a watch party to the QAnon group. I met them. I did a couple interviews with a couple different QAnon researchers. So I met this really cool group. We have different politics, but we're both in the truth. So I shared to them, and they'll have to kick me out to get me to stop because I like their group. And I like how people are open minded there. And I feel like they don't mind it that I share to their group, or they would have kicked me out. So, but I got a good turnout at that watch party. In the video here, Crystal says either you tell them kids or their friends will or TV. I'd rather them hear it from me. You know, you're right. But you got to tell them the truth. And I always wonder but how deep do we go? You got to keep in mind, Crystal, we're talking, I'm the tinfoil hat guy. So I'm talking about secret societies, Luciferian rituals, the Jeffrey Epstein pedophile island stuff. You know, you're right though. They will find it out anyway. They're more in touch with that phone in their pocket, that computer that we're all carrying around. So they will get that information. Matter of fact, every time I ask him about something, he's Googled stuff faster than I would have ever found it. And he's like, "Did you know about this? Did you know about that?" And I'm like, "Whoa, slow down." He's all over it. But you're right. You either tell them yourself or they'll pick it up somewhere else. Hold on. So I guess we all agree. No one disagrees that you shouldn't truth your kids. But and I guess that's good too to show them because you're kind of showing them at the same time that you're telling them, "Hey, don't repeat this at school." You're letting them know that they're being bullshitted at. No, wait a minute. You are kind of letting them know they're being bullshitted at school. Well, they are. You're being taught a fake history. You're being taught a fake reality. You're being indoctrinated. You're being trained to be a good citizen. You're not. Our education system isn't really about education. See what I mean? See what I mean, Crystal? At what point do I stop truthing him? You know what I'm saying? He's going to be running around telling everybody taxation is theft and waking everybody up. 9/11 was an inside job. The CIA is still running Project MK Ultra. He's going to be considered a ranting loon. Well, let's see. I'm going to look back at the watch party here. Carlton says you heard about Mongolians. Mongolians. Huh. Contact me later. Bye. Okay. I'm going to assume that that was meant to me. I'll contact you about the Mongolians. No, I haven't heard about the Mongolians. Terry says there are more people researching all of this than people think. No, there is a huge awakening happening, and that's great. That's exciting. I love being alive during that and witnessing that happening. So that's encouraging. And I want to be a part of that as much as I possibly can. So I try to share the truth as much as I can and do things like this. That's the point of this show. It's supposed to be a fun show that is, inviting and exposes taboo topics, talks about things that aren't popular and that aren't usually talked about in a way that hopefully is delivered where it puts people's guard down and makes them acceptable to the information. That's the purpose anyway. Janet says there are a lot of things I do not know about, but I'm learning. As soon as I get off of here, I will look into the Montauk project. Absolutely. There's tons out there. Look it up. RC says Mongolians, yes, little AI that was all over the White House at one time, used for spying. This sounds fascinating. I can't wait to look into this. I learn a lot actually from the audience at a lot of these feeds and look into a lot of things from the audience comments. And I always want to hear from you on what are things that you would like to see covered in later episodes of Conspiracy Theories and Chill, because we're always looking for topics and things to cover and get into on the show. So let me know any topic you want to hear about or look into. Like Steve, we're going to have to make the Aleister Crowley Barbara Bush video. I'm just telling you. I see that it has to happen. So we're going to have to do that. Because that is her daddy. I know it is. I'm convinced that that is Barbara Bush's daddy, Aleister Crowley. And that the evil Bush family is even more evil than just being war criminals and liars. And there's much more to them than that. They're Illuminati and involved in secret societies, and I think in black magic as well. But that would be a good video, Steven. You're right. And I need to quit putting it off and just do it. Let me know anything you guys want to get into. Helen says your grandbabies argue with teachers all the time. See, and he already does. He already does argue with his teachers. So I don't know that I need to be telling him the real truth about what's going on in the world and having him have to go into a class where is rewarded for regurgitating bullshit. You know, that's kind of hard. It's difficult, isn't it? It's a rough situation to put him in. But that's the reality of our school situation, unfortunately. Donna says this is a great session to throw topics out there. Terry says I work in retail and so many people know they are watching and trying to control everything we do. Oh my God, everything. I work in customer service myself, and where I work there's probably 20 something cameras. Literally everything's on camera. And it's wild. They can pull up and look at absolutely anything and take pictures and zoom in, and they can even get audio in some sections. It's weird. We are in a surveillance state. Project Pegasus, Andre D. Basaggio. I will look into that, Paul. Top fan, you got it, man. Project Pegasus. That is new to me and news to me, so I will have to look into that. Oh, the envelopes at Bush's funeral that were passed out. I would love to know what was in those, because they were took aback when they read those. Whatever that was contained in those envelopes, that took them back a little bit. You saw that it jarred them. So I would love to know what they saw written in those little pieces of paper, because that was definitely a message to them. That's what it looked like to me. So that would be interesting to find out. Right on. Andrew, probably. Getting screwed over by autocorrect, Paul. RC says you heard Obama has been killed. Is that true? I hadn't heard Obama's been killed. Do you mean killed and replaced with like a doppelganger, or just been killed and we haven't been informed yet? I know that Obama is planning to do everything he can to stop Bernie Sanders from becoming president and help Pete Buttigieg. A lot of people don't realize he's tied to the Buttigieg campaign, but no, I hadn't heard he's been assassinated. That would be news to me. Sherry says we can only hope. Now, a lot of people praise Obama. I don't. I'm not one of those people. He's a war criminal and an establishment tool and a puppet. Helen says I told my babies government education is so you can walk among the others. Truthing is so you remain an individual. You're wise, Helen. You are very wise. I learn a lot from you. That was deep. But you're right. Very good. Very good little comment there. Cameron says, are shape shifting reptilians for real? Or are they just made up by the CIA and promoted through Ike and Alex Jones? I don't know. I have wondered. I love to watch David Icke. Let me just go ahead and preface this with that. I'm a big fan of David Icke. I like watching him speak. He's a very good speaker, very well spoken, and spreads a lot of truth. The reptilians. What I believe reptilians are, when people say that they've seen reptilians, again, I believe these are demons that these people are describing. That's my personal belief and my personal thoughts, is I believe they're describing demons. Now, they literally could be demon human hybrids if you believe in the Bible, because there were alien human hybrids. Angel human hybrids, the Nephilim. So, I don't know about the reptilians. I don't think they're space reptilians from another planet, but I believe people could have seen something that they would call a reptilian that is just, in reality, just something that's outside of your ability to understand. Is an interdimensional being. I would I would describe as a demon, but just not from outer space. So I don't know. I think the reptilian stuff is very interesting, and I know that there are heavy relationships with bloodlines and things like that in the powers that be, and in the power structure that lords over us, and in the Illuminati and the New World Order and all of the secret societies. But I want to believe Ike too. David Ike he's very convincing. And you can tell he's not bullshitting you. He believes what he's saying to you. You know, I fully believe that Ike is on the up and up. I just don't, like I said, believe in outer space aliens. So I believe that these reptilians that people are seeing are demons. That's what I think they really are. And then if you don't want to be religious with me, you know, interdimensional beings. So Terry says, have you seen the video of Schumer talking to an empty chair, telling someone to move from his chair, talking to an entity? Yeah, he's also probably slipping mentally. These people like Schumer are so connected. They get to hold on their positions of power way longer than they should. And I don't know if he's just lost his mental capacities or if there was an entity in his chair. But yeah, that's a crazy video. Cameron says, what are my thoughts on giants? My thoughts on giants would center around the Nephilim. Um, I believe that the fallen angels, now, this is my beliefs. Again, I've turned a lot of people off with my beliefs, but I always share exactly what I believe. But I prefaced it with it's my belief. The fallen angels bred with humans, and their offspring were these giants. So I believe there were giants. And I believe there's evidence of giants, and a lot of interesting evidence. So the giant topic would be fascinating to look into, but I would need to look into it deeper. But I do believe there were giants that walked the earth, and I think there's evidence of it. Helen said he was talking to Drop Dead Fred. He might have been. Whoever he was talking about, he was very upset with them for being in his chair, And they really should have known better. It has his name in front of it, you know. RC says those demons are coming up in their satanic rituals. Now, they are Luciferian, they do conduct satanic rituals. The elite, deep state establishment, whatever you want to call them, they're even on the different teams, they go to the same parties, they're in the same organizations, in the same secret societies. We've literally had elections where we had two skull and bonesmen running against each other, where either way, you had one of the most dark and elitist cult secret societies in control of the establishment branch of the United States government. They're all on the same team. It's a big club and you aren't in it. That's all very true. But they do worship demons. You know, I don't push my religious beliefs on here either. But the Illuminati, the New World Order, the lords behind the curtain, the puppet masters, they're religious. They worship demons. They Moloch, Baal, all these old demons. And I'm I'm saying there might be a reason that they do that. They believe that there's power in it. So if you dismiss religion and you think it's silly, I think it's interesting anyway that the people that lord over us, the people that are in power, the people that have the knowledge, are very religious. They're just now on the same team. They're not fighting for the same. Their God is not our God. They have a different God. They believe Lucifer is the good guy in the Bible. And they're trying to bring biblical prophecy to life, and there's proof of that. They're moving us towards Armageddon. They just think that the end fight's going to play out differently than we do. They think they're going to win. They think they're going to take down God. But again, I'm not being preachy. Cameron says the Smithsonian has a bunch of giant skeletons. The Smithsonian does? On display? See, I always thought that they tried to play down and underplay the giant skeletons. I did not know they were on display at the Smithsonian. That's interesting. Donna says, I watched a video tonight on Nephilim's Fallen Angels. Wow, that's a coincidence. David says, are you a Christian? Absolutely. 100%. And I'm not ashamed of that. But I think part of being a Christian is not judging others and, you know, want to be inviting to everyone. I don't want to offend anyone, but my beliefs sometimes do. Like, I had someone that was a very avid, what would you call someone that watched, a viewer, that came all the time to my feeds. And we had a good relationship. I thought we were friends. Got really mad at me because I said that UFOs and aliens are demons. They're interdimensional beings, is the best I'll do with you. But they're demons. That's what I think they are. She got so pissed at me. But I'm like, it's my opinion. It's my opinion. I think it's based on a lot of evidence. But Cameron says Luciferians do exist. You're absolutely right, they do. Cameron says they buy them and tuck them away. The skeletons, yeah. Another thing that's interesting, conspiracy wise, to get into that has to do with skeletons and things like that is the dinosaurs. That's a fascinating topic. I don't know if I want to get into that. The only thing that would be weirder than getting into whether dinosaurs ever even existed, is this new conspiracy that my friend is interviewing someone on a different show, that birds aren't real. Has anyone heard this? That birds aren't real? And what are your thoughts? I I I uh I could never believe that all birds aren't real, but if you wanted to tell me that some birds were surveillance drones, I would have to think that that's a possibility. I couldn't tell you were crazy. And I wouldn't be able to say that the technology doesn't exist to do that. So, but all birds? My mom had cockatiels. Cameron says the world is way older than they're telling us. Paul says reptilians can't mate with us. They have weird reproductive parts. Look into the celeb rape cases where the victims say they had strange private parts. Interesting. So, what's your thought on reptilians, Paul? Do you, see? I was telling you that I believe that they would be like a demon that would someone would be describing. But do you believe they're interplanetary or interdimensional? I wish I could put that up on the screen, Paul. Paul says the Weinstein rape victims say he has a weird man vag. And Helen says Epstein's junk was egg shaped. Really? That is fascinating. I had not heard that. RC says God always wins. Good always wins. God will win. God will win out. God will be victorious. But they aim to kill a lot of us in the process. And they plan to wait out Armageddon and live underground in these cities that they've built for themselves underground. They're not afraid of what's going to happen. Paul says they are as you say they are. They are from here but able to travel different dimensions. I'm glad we agree, Top Fan. Look at that. Look at us. We're arm in arm, dancing down the street. I'm sorry if I've seemed distracted, but for an hour and 2 minutes, we've been up on YouTube and there's been one person here. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but thank you for sticking through the whole hour. That's amazing. Please comment. Let me know you're here. Say hi. Don't be afraid. We just got to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, so I'm excited about that. And check out the YouTube channel, Me on Things and Stuff. Especially if you want to see tonight's video, it's on the YouTube channel, or any other video that we've made for Conspiracy Theories and Chill. We've been doing this little show for, I don't know, about 3 years now. We took a hiatus for a while, but about 3 years. And there's a long list of videos on the YouTube channel. So go to YouTube, Me on Things and Stuff, and check that out. But Helen says they're like eunuchs. RC says read that about Weinstein. Hello, Tim. Or Tim's. Well, let's see, guys. We're coming up on the end of the show. I've got to turn over the bedroom to Babas here in a minute. But thanks for watching. This is Conspiracy Theories and Chill. We do this every Wednesday at 8 p.m. And we gather and we talk about conspiracies. Tonight, we focused on the CIA and Montauk, and we got sidetracked. We always do. Went a little bit here, a little bit there, talking a little bit about the Luciferians that lord over us now. We seem to always get back around to them. But that's what we do here is we talk about the truth, we talk about reality, and it's a live interactive show. So if you like it, come back next week at 8 and join us again. And I don't have a topic for it yet picked out, but let me know anything you guys would want to see in the comments, and we will cover them on upcoming shows. Paul says they are the angels and gods from the past. They don't have special powers, just great knowledge, so they trick us with their tricks. Think about it. If you go back and do the old pull a coin from behind the ear trick on a caveman, he'll shit a brick. He'll think you're a god. You're right. You're right. Shit, if I showed my cell phone to somebody 50 years ago, they'd think I was a god. You know? Just something like that. Show my lighter to a caveman. If I just went like that, like, holy shit. Bowing down to me and stuff. You know, it's just... Jeannie says, it's not accurate. Another pro group I follow has the same problem yesterday. Ukraine facts. I'm not sure exactly what she was talking about there. But what I was getting into is wrapping up. So thank you guys for watching the show. Thank you guys for hanging out for Conspiracy Theories and Chill. And we will see you on the next episode next week at 8 p.m. And like I said, let me know anything you guys want to see us cover and we'll get into it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out with me for a while. See you next week.